Ahsoka episode 3. We got some more answers to our questions, but we still have some questions that need to be answered. Marok is probably the biggest one of them, but all that and more after the opening. Alright, guys, Brent here, back for Geek Variants with the man, the myth, the Marvel. Will Parker covers all things Marvel, anime, gaming, and more. You'll be seeing him around the Atlanta area this coming weekend for some exciting stuff. But in the meantime, be sure to hit that lovely red subscribe button because you'll be seeing me while he is out on vacation. Will, your thoughts, your questions, your feelings pertaining to Ahsoka?
I wouldn't call Dragon Con a vacation, but it's definitely gonna be fun. And with Ahsoka, like I'm expecting a whole lot more fun to kind of come into these episodes. Hey, it was some pretty cool, space fighting going on. Definitely remnants of classic Star Wars that I remember. So kind of seeing those space battles with Han and Luke trying to figure stuff out. So I definitely got the same feel. So that nostalgia is kicking in as far as Star Wars is concerned. Other than that, I'm just more curious than anything. I'm trying to find out more about Shin, more about Marok and what's going on there, and what the whole end goal is besides just to bring back Thrawn. Like, is there something else bigger afoot going on? Like, what's the setup? What's the play? So I'm just curious right now.
Just to answer some of the basic questions that every Star Wars fan has asked, and I did make a solo video on this one, so you guys can go and check that on the YouTube channel pertaining to who I truly believe Marok is, and unfortunately, it's going to likely be Ezra. That is the biggest thing that could potentially happen. I don't know how that would happen. The way that I theorized that it could happen, Morgan Elsbeth is in fact Deathmere and Witch. Brainwashing is definitely a thing within their bag. She could have done this very thing to Ezra because Ezra hates the Empire beyond all measure and beyond all shadow of a doubt. So for him to all of a sudden turn and serve as like an Inquisitor style person for the Empire is just insane. I know his name is Marok, and Galen Marok was the fanatic star killer for all the great Force Unleashed games as Vader's secret apprentice. This could be a clone knockoff of him. I know Sam Witwer is credited for some of the voice work that has already popped up on our screen. So even more credence to that theory, but at the same time, if we're going to be introducing Starkiller, I would want to introduce him watered down to the audience standpoint. But again, that's all ultimately up to Dave Filoni, and in Filoni we trust as Star Wars fans because he's George Lucas's heir. He is the number one guy who would have been picked to run the studio should he had ever sold, but he sold to Disney, and Disney put in who they put in. We got what we got. As far as grand plan, Grand Admiral Thrawn is the grand plan. This dude is legit. If you can think of someone from any cinematic universe who's an absolute game changer, he's a pencil. He changes the needle from one way to another. This would be like the equivalent in the Marvel Cinematic Universe of getting Doom on your side. Whatever variation you need, Thrawn can be. Thrawn has no magic. Thrawn has no force ability. Thrawn is just a dude who's a brilliant strategist with a blaster. He is everything that you need to resurrect an empire, lead a coup, inspire the people. He is someone that can change the whole tide of what's going on with the rebels. While the rebels seem on the surface level to be in charge, we all know that they have never fully been in charge. Any nation that has tried conquering another nation while harboring that other nation within themselves ultimately just harbors more and more resentment. And historically speaking, if you looked anywhere throughout history, there's always a rebellion at some point in time. And if you're trying to harbor evil within your empire of goodness, yeah, eventually become the very thing you swore to destroy, or you get overthrown. And well, we saw what happened with the Disney trilogy that I personally hate, but we know how it ends. The rebellion gets overthrown, and will Thrawn be that big piece? We don't know. We haven't seen officially how that trilogy came about with the new First Order, with the Emperor, and all of that stuff. But so far, I've very much enjoyed what we've seen. There's a lot of good good acting. There's a lot of good writing. This is very much the Star Wars of old. It had the good elements of the prequels, had the good elements of the originals. It's got very little of the newer trilogy, but it's still got some sprinkled into it. Some of the Legends lore has already been thrown in there. And the fact that they are building a weapon, well, not a weapon, they're building a transportation unit that could potentially lead to becoming a weapon, to go from the galaxy that we know to the galaxy where Thrawn and Ezra are. They could open up galaxy level travel for the entire universe of Star Wars, which would be huge. So we don't end up with every single Star Wars series on the planet of Tatooine, because that's where we all hang out in our free time, even though it's on the outer rim. But I really like this episode. Ahsoka's done well. Sabine is growing and learning and being better and better by the day. That droid, though, he talks a lot of crap. I'm sure
I
he's probably
love
one
him.
of my favorite characters.
I love him.
Is there any other characters that you feel are getting a lot of shine here? I know Ray Stevenson for me is holding it down, and God rest his soul in a very unfortunate passing. But he's
Uh,
down.
I mean, okay, I want to see a bit more with Hera and Chopper. Like, I definitely want to see more of that. So, I mean, that's just kind of where I'm sitting right now. I love Ahsoka. I love where she's at and what she's doing. She's the title character, so I expect a lot from her. But Hera is one I definitely want to see. Kind of a few more gun battles and stuff. Just her flying around handling business.
And then Chopper is the world's best anarchist, and I feel like once you finally see him in all his glory, because I know you're working through Rebels, but it's not a small task for any person to accomplish, given whatever free time that anyone potentially may have had. I spent months watching, Rebels, trying to absorb everything that was going on into it, and I learned to embrace the anarchist that is Chopper. If you thought R2 has attitude, Chopper has attitude in spades, and he's something I'm very, very excited to see. I'm very excited to see tomorrow's episode of Harley Quinn with you guys, as well as Fiona and Cake. I'll have covered the next day with the Jujutsu Kaisen. So it's going to be a very, very busy couple of days for us, but don't worry, we've got shorts scheduled out for you guys for each and every day. So may not even notice that Will's gone for that little time span that he's away from us. And maybe, just maybe, I'll play some Baldur's Gate 3 for you guys this weekend. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know what you think. Let us know what I got wrong and or right. Will, nice having you on, just kind of enjoying some Star Wars lore with a friend. I know you're the newer guy on the screen. Still appreciate you all for the same. Be sure to hit that lovely red subscribe button. Greatly helps us out. Thanks to each and every one of you who have joined along on this wonderful ride. We'll see you in the next episode in a galaxy far, far away next time.